guys all still look great. Good to see you. Thank you for either staying or leaving and coming back, or who knows. Welcome. This is the Art of Warframe panel, and I'm honestly thrilled and humbled to be the moderator / 112 slide picker. Very excited about that. But before we jump into things, I do want to introduce the lovely panel that I have with me today. We're going to meet our panelists. Dean, can you show my slides? I have 112. Do you see it? Are you working on it? Did I break something? Anyway, we're going to do a little introductions before we start. Dean will fix something. We're going to just start. Oh, there we go. Introductions. But we'll start here with the very talented Keith Thompson. So maybe a little, say your name, your role, and maybe how long you've been at Digital Extremes making art.
I'm Keith Thompson.
Oh, microphone.
Excuse me. Keith Thompson. I'm learning microphones, and I'm a concept artist, and I've been working on Warframe at least 11 years.
Wow.
So yes, no, it's wonderful to be back here for the convention and see everyone. It's been a while.
Amazing. Carrie?
Hi, I'm Carrie. I've been at DE for about 15 years, and I think I started on Warframe kind of just as it hits Steam, essentially, whenever that would be.
Love that. Jeff?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff. Hi. I used to be an art director on Warframe, and I've been at DE longer than I want to say.
Oh, okay. It's a mystery. If you guess, you get platinum. I'm kidding. Next up.
Hello, I'm Kaz Adams. I'm on the weapons team, and I'm the lead now. I didn't start as the lead, obviously. I started in TennoCon. Any TennoCon creators out there? Hell yeah. Sweet.
All right, last but last.
Hi. I'm Eric Vetter, the concept director.
Oh, big concept director.
Big time. I've been working on Warframe for, I think, 11 years as well. 2012, sketching with Minky.
All right, so as you can tell, we have a lot of very talented artists here on the stage, myself not included. But my name is Megan Everett. I'm the community director on Warframe, and I'm very happy to be here celebrating as best I can a lot of the art from not only this team here, but also DE in general. So you're going to see art spanning the entire company. And in terms of content, oh my, I got to turn it on, guys. That's why it's not working. The panel, like I said, 112 slides. And the goal for this panel was, again, to celebrate 10 years of Warframe, 10 years of art, and you can't do that without going to the past and going to the future. So we're gonna do a little bit of maybe dark sector art, stuff like that. But one of the best ways to, I think, celebrate the fact that it's 10 years of Warframe is with the official Warframe art book. Please hold. Ta-da! Wow.
Do you need any help with that?
It is quite dangerous, I'm not gonna lie.
That thing is so heavy.
20 pounds, Eric? What is this?
Yeah, I think it was 13 pounds.
13 pounds.
13 pounds.
Oh my God. People have
440
dogs
pages.
Smaller. This is an accumulation of 10 years of Digital Extremes art. And it's incredible. If you're here at the venue, we do have a limited amount for sale. If they are sold out, I'm not quite sure. We do have some on our online store for a pre-order. So if you're unable to get it here at the venue, you can go to store.warframe.com, although the servers might be crashed, and you can pre-order yourself this book because it is massive and beautiful. And my arms hurt. Beautiful, breathtaking.
It's even bigger in your arms.
It's my tiny, tiny arms. But Eric, I know you worked very hard to put this together, and it's kind of been your life for the past couple months. So tell me about kind of developing this book.
A little more than a couple months. About a year and a half, I proposed the idea to the greatest guy I know, Jeff Crooks. And he's like, yeah, we got to do this. We got to push it through. So it's been an insane experience, a walk down memory lane, and couldn't be more prouder of it and all the work that we've done.
It's actually crazy how much you guys have found, like stuff I forgot existed.
And speaking of that,
Yeah, there's
a
some
lot
great
of,
stuff.
Yeah, a lot of the art in my 112 slide panel is featured in this art book. So again, if you want to tangibly get your hands on some of this art, it is going to be in the art book. So if you're interested, you can do that. All right, let's get started, shall we? Ooh. Yes. All right, we're going to do a little back in time, Dark Sector. Maybe not everyone here knows what Dark Sector is. Jeff? Carrie? Everyone here? What's Dark Sector?
It's not that. That's what we wanted it to be. And then we couldn't get that made. So, but yeah, Dark Sector is the seeds of what Warframe turned into. Like it was Steve, myself, and Mike Brennan, Minky, back in 2003, 2002, just world building, sci-fi adventure ideas. It was going to be a single player game. And we kind of did just kind of concepts building what were the early Grenier, the early Excalibur suits. And then when we couldn't make that, we had to pivot to what Dark Sector was. I can't believe you found these drawings. Oh my God.
I went deep. I went into the archives.
That's crazy.
Found some gold.
Yeah. So so this was like, I think even I did some of these sketches just with animation posing because we were trying to figure out a style. So we built the prototype of Dark Sector, and Steve went on a journey of rejection for about 4 months.
Yes.
It was this thing we passionately worked on, and he just kept getting the door slammed in his face that no one wanted to make it, no one wanted to make sci-fi. We heard that over and over again, just rejecting the sci-fi setting of the game, and that's what happened when Minky did the pivot and started exploring what Dark Sector turned into so we could get it made, which turned out to be a pretty cool piece of identity that we're pretty proud of as well. And actually the combination of those two visions of Dark Sector really kind of merged to turn into what Warframes are today.
That is true. Inspiration. Anyone else on this stage a memory of Dark Sector? I know it was a long time ago. Dust those cobwebs. Carrie?
I mean, as an appreciative audience member, yes, but that's about it.
Fair enough, fair enough. It was a long time ago. And like you said, a lot of Dark Sector art inspired Warframe.
Yeah, so this was Minky, who's brilliant. He was planning the idea. There was an early idea in Dark Sector where the Warframe, or the Dark Sector, the Excalibur suits, could change into different forms. And in a way, this kind of turned into like the proto design for what Warframes would turn into based on these early ideas. Like when we started kind of kicking the idea around to kind of get back to Warframe and build it, Minky went right back to these sketches to kind of start building from.
I was a little bit surprised when I saw that there was a version of Excalibur that was actually pretty much Frost all the way back then.
Yeah, there's a Frost, and I think even an old Ember design from like back when this that turned into this. Yeah.
Yeah. We've had them cooking in the brain for a while.
I love
Speaking of-
looking at all of those old ones.
Yes.
Mickey put a bunch of little weird things that he'd written all over them. They're not here, but they're in the art book, so you should check it out.
Way to plug the art book. Thank you, Kaz. There's a lot in the art book. Okay, so we've taken a little look at the past, and now we're going to move a little bit forward into the first 5 years of Warframe. Timeline-wise, that's 2013, a little bit of 2012, because we were obviously developing Warframe before 2013 when it launched, into 2018. So we're going to focus on, obviously, the launch of Warframe, as well as some big milestones in Warframe that you may recognize if you were around. So like you were saying, Excalibur art turned into Hayden Tenno turned into Excalibur. Here we even have Excalibur Prime. So, I mean, obviously at that time, did you even know kind of the iconicness that was being developed with Excalibur Prime and these kinds of concepts?
I wish I could remember. Minky gets full credit for the Prime angle. I remember even when we went back, this was him kicking the can at redesigning Excalibur, again, to be kind of a cross design of the old pure sci-fi take and kind of what was the infestation and Dark Sector. And he kind of wanted to kind of make a more bioorganic suit. And then it was the Founders Pack that we wanted to do something special for Founders, and Minky kind of thought, I I can't remember. I honestly can't remember if it was Steve or Minky that kind of came up with the idea of the prime versions of, in the lore, like the prime versions of what the Warframes were in that design.
I remember you guys had this really wonderful animated short with Excalibur.
Yep.
And it fought a jackal on, I'm assuming, a Corpus ship.
Yeah.
And I got shown that when I got brought on first.
You got shown that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. That was like our early sci-fi pitch. Yeah, and that was in 2004 when we made that. And what that set did turn into the Corpus, the base for the Corpus set that we used back then. Yeah, so we really went deep into the mine when we kind of dove into making Warframe.
And speaking of Keith Thompson, not scaring Keith Thompson away with such art, I believe this.
I
You love
it was great, really fun.
Love it. I believe this is your first, maybe, concept for Warframe?
I think this might be the first design I started. I think everything was still up in the air. I think I had the short, not a lot else, so it was really kind of blue sky. And this is Loki, basically. And it was an initial idea where the Warframes could possibly have sort of a berserk mode, sort of a werewolf mode. So here you got kind of the base Loki with this sort of martial stature.
I forgot we were thinking about doing that. Yeah, that's right. We're going to do state changes.
And
yeah.
then he kind of, the muscles kind of stretch out, and you get this underlying structure that shows. And of course, Loki basically ended up being a merging of the two. You got the helmet from the berserk mode, and then the main body.
Did you design the glaive on your own? Were you asked to do a glaive, or did you just do that?
Well, the glaive pre-existed, right?
That's what I'm wondering. If
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I'm not sure actually, but
it's cool.
Maybe someone brought up Krull.
And then as well, there was a very, very early Rhino, and I think this one was even titled like Legionnaire or something.
Yes, yeah, and he's got a really weird weapon that I don't think we've ever brought back. Kind of a.
Get on it, Kaz.
It's got claws.
Yeah, Kaz,
I'll
can we
make that.
can we get this weapon?
I'm a fan.
But yeah, so you're concepting these Warframes. Do you remember kind of like the direction you were given back then in terms of what to kind of create for your concepts?
I think there was very much just getting a flavor of the pre-existing art, and the kind of assumption was that I was a complement for that, and I kind of just went to town with it. Strong, formidable, elegant.
Elegant. Oh, Rhino's never been called elegant before.
It's an essential part. Now, Rhino does have a bit of a hunch here.
Yeah, hunched elegant.
Yes, but so we got a little bit more handsome, but you still got the kind of the nice feet and everything like that, the shoes and
I mean, really, that's exactly what Rhino looks like. So 1-to-1. And then also a couple. This might have been what you were referring to, Jeff, with like the really early Warframe concept by Minky.
I think this was when, again, we were like, well, how many should we ship with? And I think Scott just said 6 or 8. So Minky, it's just maddening. I think you can see he's riffing on Keith's designs here to commit to them, and then he just Trinity was actually an old sci-fi enemy in the old sci-fi setting, so he reused that design. And then, we just kind of, and then, like I said, he went back to the Well for Ember, and this was just I think in a couple days he put together this for our starting lineup. And then, and I think he had some loose design ideas from Scott to kind of build around.
Oh, Scott. Love you, bud. I would be remiss, obviously, not to talk about the moment of founders, and just obviously, I see some founders in our crowd. Hello, someone home.
Thank you, founders.
Thank you, founders. Truly, without you, this would all not be possible, because you kept this studio surviving and thriving, so thank you for that. So 2012 and 2013, open beta, huge time for Warframe. More people are brought onto the team. We're making really cool art. Trying to explain factions, so we're developing some more ideas. We've got Grenier Corpus, Infested as well, trying to tell their story. And then we're fast forward a little bit to Second Dream, which was huge.
It was huge, yeah. I think this is the moment, oh my God. This is Eric. This is why Eric. This is when we're like, okay, Eric needs to be concept director.
Yeah. hired.
Best drawing, please. Yeah, that's awesome.
But it was frightening, for us to do a story quest in this, kind of looter shooter that we put out, and we were really nervous that people would kind of be receptive to it. And I think that's kind of like when there was a really big pivot in the direction of Warframe when we kind of launched that.
And then art-wise, I mean, was there a mocap involved in the second dream? Did we start that, or was that kind of afterwards? Got to go back into the memory bank.
What year was that?
2015.
There was mocap.
There was mocap.
There was
All
mocap,
right.
yeah.
Oh
But
yeah, it was Tim carrying the operator, wasn't it? Oh, sorry, spoiler.
Tim,
Spoiler alert.
Tim definitely was carried.
Tim was carried a lot as our operator.
I can't remember
mocap.
who did it though, but Tim was
Yeah.
carried. Yeah, it was an old mocap system, but it was a lot of like credit to the animators. There's a lot of keyframe work in
Yeah.
it as well. So
Yeah, really stepped the art game up for that one. Eric, do you want to explain what's happening here, by the way?
explain yourself, Eric.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, but storyboards, like, do we do
Anyone could
storyboards
be
a lot?
artist in video games.
That smiling lotus.
The smiling lotus.
That's
Oh
the
yeah,
best
there
part.
she is. Yeah. She's cute.
Like a manta ray.
So Eric, storyboards.
Was that the inspiration for the desert skates?
Yes.
This made it into the art book, right?
What's that?
This made it into the art book?
No.
Reprint.
We can insert it.
Yeah, your autograph can be the manta ray lotus smiley face. We'll just plug that in there.
Avatar.
But speaking of storyboards, Eric,
Yes.
part of the development process of the second dream, obviously, helpful. Like, how much did
Yeah.
this actually one-to-one turn into what was the second dream?
I think pretty close. I
Yeah.
think I worked with Jeff on this, and like he was saying, it's kind of our first story moment, and it also tied into the other stuff, like the operator room, the chair, and the reveal. Oh,
Oh, I got that. Don't
you got my
worry.
Jiffy
I
or
got
my
your
GIF?
Oh, gross. Got your GIF. I do.
So I presented this to Steve many years ago, and he liked this idea, and
This was the nursery idea, yeah.
yeah, and I think for the most part, it kind of stuck to.
We animated it very closely.
Yeah.
To this, yeah.
And then the actual pod design, the modelers, and those guys did a great job. The one-to-one design of it's amazing. And then when you see it all put together with the great storyboards I did, it just turned out really well. It was a really special moment for myself. So,
Yeah.
And the music
Everything.
almost makes me cry every time I see it.
Oh, don't cry.
I won't.
In a good way, right?
Good way, good cry.
Good
yeah,
way.
not like, no.
Yeah, who here remembers their second dream experience? Do you remember it? Oh, look at all those hands. It was a moment. It was a moment.
I wasn't even working here yet. Like,
But
I
you had a
enjoyed that
moment.
as a fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also got the bug where you hold the operator as a gun.
That was heartbreaking.
That
That was heartbreaking.
Yep.
We worked so hard. So hard, and then shooting the operator like a gun.
Yeah. There was a lot of also face morphing issues with the operator. You know, beautiful child
were
to behold.
beautiful.
They were beautiful. Oh, absolutely beautiful. And then obviously, Second Dream is telling a lot about the Stalker and giving him a little bit some lore and some story. I snuck this slide in here because I wanted to let you know that the Stalker's story is not over. We do have some plans for a little bit of more Stalker lore, perhaps next year. So,
Keith, we might have to talk to you about that.
oh,
I didn't touch Stalker initially. I'm not sure who did. Who did Stalker?
It was Mickey. Yeah.
Cool.
of course. Anyways, lots of, if you're interested in Stalker, more to come on his story. We're going to fast forward a little bit to 2017, which actually happened in this very room with the Plains of Eidolon reveal at Tenno Live. Pyro was here, Fashion Frame was here. Big moment over there. I remember it. Oops, sorry. Keith, lovely concepts.
This is sort of grounded for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is we got basically the Orokin structures, and we got the Ostron that scavenged them. And I decided, these structures are still looking pretty good, pretty pristine. They're ancient. They're alive, and that's the valuable stuff in them. So the Ostron basically make their living like whalers, picking apart these ancient structures, which is sort of in keeping with real history in the sense of a lot of the stone gets reappropriated by following civilizations. And in this case, it's got a certain different vibe.
And I think for that one, this would be what I would call like an unclench concept. This is a moment where it's like, okay, this is going to be okay.
We see beautiful
In
teeth
a
are-
meat building sort of way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those moments where like I'll define what unclench means for the audience.
If we need to.
Like I remember we were just kind of trying to get over the hump of figuring out the kind of like what are we going to center around the idea of the Ostrons, and it was like working with Keith, and he just kind of threw this giant boulder into the lake, and it was just too unique not to commit to it. So
And the animation on the blubber, just impeccable. Just
Good stuff.
it's
Good
always
stuff.
a thrill seeing what they do with these things.
Yeah.
Who had to do the research on that?
I don't want to see any Google search history for the meat wall. Eric, we have a lovely concept by you for
this is
what
Eric redemption time. from the
Yeah, here you go,
storyboard,
Eric. Redeem yourself from that storyboard.
Back to the storyboards, please. Yeah, this was very cool to do. I know I had this idea of throwing balloons in it and like things floating around, and I remember Steve just lost his mind for that. He was like, "We got to do that." So that's it.
It was a good way to convey scale.
What's that?
Really well. It was a good way to convey scale.
Yeah.
Like me and Kaz.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not that much bigger than me.
No, of course not. So obviously from concept to reality, this is obviously what we know the plains looks like currently. It's beautiful. We have many inhabitants of the plains, such as the Norg, many fishies to be had. And then as well, like you were saying, the Ostron scavengers, concepting what they're going to look like. So this is a great piece by Raymond to kind of think about what maybe they're going to be. And then weapons. This was our first foray into modular weapons, Kaz.
Lucas was very excited about doing modular stuff. There's a lot of things in the game that are modular that are all due to Lucas, and he just had so much fun like taking stuff from like loose drawings. Like this is pretty early on in the process when we get to see these things and then we have to make something too. Just looking off of Keith's early pieces for some of the planning for CETUS, and Lucas was able to just create all these different new shapes based on just those little bits and pieces, and he's always bringing in a bunch of research from like different world cultures and stuff. So there's some cool shapes in there that are kind of based in history. So it's just really cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool time to see not only this, but then obviously when you put them together, they, put the tape around it and you're making a new weapon. So the weapons team, incredible job there on that one. And then we move into Fortuna. Again, another TennoCon experience. We love reveals. We have lovely concept art about Orbalis. And I remember the concept art for Orbalis was very, like Keith, I know you did a lot of Orbalis concept art and obviously taken inspiration from it. Do you remember kind of that time?
Yes, there was a lot of really ridiculous out there ideas too. I had they went through these kind of terraforming seasons,
Yes.
and I was kind of throwing that. It's like that's a whole game we'd have to make, a whole extra game.
Different game.
But you had these impressions that still worked and ended up following through. So yeah, it's amazing to see it kind of flesh out and come alive.
And obviously we went inside for Solaris and doing their kind of story and thinking about, how are we going to do this inside space with these workers trying to work really hard. And then Keith, like I said, your lovely concepts.
Absolutely love what you did with it by keeping it under wraps for so long.
Yes.
It's such a great way to experience a whole people and kind of get that sense that now they trust you.
To show you who they really are.
And then they have
beautiful.
this dignity.
Yeah.
They're not just this, they're victimized, but they're not just victims. And there's this integrity and pride to them that they have in themselves and what they do. And I think it was really nice to see that kind of civilization come out in a game world. And I think it gives them this really interesting richness and depth. And it doesn't feel like they're just there for the player.
Right.
It feels like they're kind of living on their own together, and then slowly you gain their trust, and they welcome you in.
Yeah, you're helping them, they're helping you. It's a beautiful story. Not a beautiful story is getting attacked by spiders, but every open world needs to have enemies. Does anyone...
And we didn't pick it up at the one in the lake, really. We haven't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, so we had spiders. Sorry if you have a fear of spiders. I remember we had to have a content warning of like, there's spiders in this game. I'm so sorry.
With the Solaris people, I remember I had seen the pictures early on, and I'd been at an event with Jeff, and he was like, are they okay? Are they too weird? Do you think they're too weird? He was so nervous about it being too weird. I was like, it's Warframe. It fits.
Yeah, it's the amazing thing about working with Keith as well is like you can kind of give him a nugget, like a seed, an idea. We gave him kind of the culture idea we were aiming for, and then he comes back and there's heads and cavities, and we're just like, okay, that's like, but like you were saying, it worked so well systemically in the game as part of the standing system, and it being something you have to earn. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, it all worked out. Obviously, you have conservation, doing some little traps here. Shout out to Rosa if you're here. Our conservation queen, Pyra. And then again, more modular weapons for the weapons team. Kaz, was there like, were you able to use obviously a lot of maybe what we learned was Zaws using kick guns, or was it like different worlds?
Oh, it was very similar.
Yeah.
On the like making side of things, you just create kind of like sockets kind of thing, and you can just plug different things into those parts. So these were all Lucas again, taking just from those few concepts that we had at the very beginning and being able to extrapolate into all sorts of different directions with it.
Incredible. Obviously, there was a lot that happened in between that. I'm not glancing it over. I only have 112 slides. But we are going to go into the next 5 years of Warframe for a timeline, 2018 till basically now. Heart of Deimos, again, another TennoCon reveal. There's a theme happening here that I didn't really mean to do. But we went weird and gross, obviously, with Heart of Deimos being the Entrati family, the more infested type of vibes. What do we remember about... I remember Heart of Deimos and Deimos in general being really fast development-wise. We were just like, we have this idea, let's do it, TennoCon, let's make it happen. Does anyone have any kind of, like, what were you feeling during that process?
Well, and you throw in lockdown into that. That was, we got thrown into lockdown, and we had to kind of do this, setting up like a remote.
Yeah, we were setting up remote, and the other thing is it really wasn't the main thing we were intending to do that.
No.
It was going to be the new war, and then this was more achievable.
It's not that, Gary.
Yeah, the giant fleshscape was more achievable.
Fleshscape, oh God. You know how many times I saw that word trying to find art?
Yeah, didn't work out exactly that way, but yeah.
Internally, it's called Fleshscape, so if you want to start calling it that, that's, I guess, fine. But again, obviously concepts, fishing spears, we gave them a whole new look with our nasty, nasty little fish that went along with Deimos. There's many different versions of this, right, Kaz?
Yeah. Lucas just goes through, and when he does his explorations, they just have so much character and life to them. It's just so cool to see these early explorations of these things.
Yeah, it might be hard to see in the audience, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of little notes on sticky net and gut hanging, reference to other spears, sticky tongue, weird stuff that makes Deimos Deimos. And then concepted, his name wasn't originally Lloyd, but he had a different name.
I'm not sure what his original name was now.
It was so long, and I was just like...
it was probably too much,
I think this was a Sentinel you pitched originally.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Whenever I sort of explore new world, parts of the world, I'll kind of touch on a bunch of different things, like operator outfits themed, and weapons and things like that. And this guy was going to be a Sentinel, and kind of went to town with him. This was interesting too, because with this whole kind of group, I started to explore the motif of a skull. And you got to be so careful with that, because skulls are fun, but they're everywhere and they always have a feel.
Yep.
So I really went trying to get with this with these sort of really almost prehistoric ancient burials. So we're not going gothic, we're not going kind of catacombs, we're not going with that kind of feel. Sort of try and push it back even older, where they're a little bit more suppressed, a little bit more hidden.
And this turned into like the seed of like the Entrati kind of aesthetic as well.
Yeah.
Like we kind of built around this. And kind of put a lot of what you were exploring into that, into kind of like
the feel of the kind of round bits. I think people have called them corn mechs. It's sort of the idea. The motif is sort of like the like gold coins that you'd get in these ancient burials around chieftains and things like that. So they'd sort of be surrounded by their riches in this really early way.
Yeah, very cool.
It's great.
And then we got into arc guns, which was necromechs in general were introduced in this, and then arc guns. Kaz, in terms of weapons, did arc guns kind of development differ from normal weapons, or was it just make big gun?
Make big gun.
Make big gun, yes. Make big gun, make work, make fire. It's beautiful. We had many other weapons as well with a father. We had his version of those weapons. Do you remember kind of the development process of that, Kaz, of making these entrati, very gold, fancy weapons?
Yeah, so these came from more of Keith's drawings, and he's got this huge book of a description of what they do underneath it with there's like soul-sucking things in there. And like,
The idea would they would have sort of reverse magazines. So they'd start empty, and then they suck a shot out of the target. And so and then you do kind of this life dump.
Did you say life dump?
A life dump. You'd sort of, like,
I
almost
thought
like,
so.
you'd inject their life out of your gun. Like,
Fleshgate.
Life, yeah, exactly. We went weird. We went weird with this. And then we went even more weird with the new war. Fast forward a little bit, obviously. Obviously, one of our longest, you're locked in kind of a quest moment, but a lot of work went into the new war. Years before it came out, obviously, as we know.
Yeah, it was a long road, for sure.
It was a long road.
And people were very patient. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
that.
Thank you.
I remember the wall of post-it
Thank you.
notes on your office. That was entertaining for you.
What's there?
The wall of post-it notes.
Yeah, there was a lot of post-it notes on my wall, yep.
The whiteboard came back. So yeah, early concepts. Hello. UNUM Tower, which, Pyra, I know you're a big fan of UNUM Tower. I'm not saying anything about it, but just concepting what that's going to look like, trying to figure out the story. Really loved this NARMER outpost, trying to figure out what that type of Grenier on steroids was going to be visually to make it kind of spooky.
Yeah, they had to build a new kit, right? Like, we wanted to
It
kind of
needed
make...
a new accent, but it was going over top of older stuff, so
yeah,
it was
we wanted
really
it
hard
to
to
be
do.
familiar and kind of a needle scratch when you return that this is not the same place it was. So
Yeah, big swings, as we like to say. And then Keith, I don't know what you were eating that day, but you came up with some crazy Archon concepts.
yeah, the idea was, again, almost playing off of a lot of the modular work we were doing. There was an idea, when you have these little sort of vonvalists in this initial idea.
Floating heads, like little guys.
They'd have sort of a bandolier of them, and then they kind of, loose them like
Yeah.
little satellites. And then the actual frame that they'd be using as a host, there was an idea that possibly they could be swapped out, modular. So every time you come across an Archon on a following mission, you're not quite sure what frame is plugged in.
Plugged in.
Yeah, because the
Oh,
Archons
no.
are these sort of parasitic
Yeah.
entities.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. That's disgusting. And then obviously we, taking the concepts from Keith on these Archons, making them their dedicated weapons. We obviously have, well, I'll go through each, but Kaz, do you remember kind of developing these to match and fit these very disgusting but beautiful Archons?
Oh yes, those concepts from Keith are some of my favorites from him. They're all like kind of animal based. Like each one of them starts with an animal. So we wanted to try and work that into all of the weapons as well.
Yeah, they definitely fit with who they are. We got a Mar, which is one of the scary ones that charge after you, and then concepting the choice screen, Eric. These are interesting.
I just stole Keith's art. And
Plagiarism.
thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, I remember when I was going through this archive, there was a lot of different versions of it. You had a version where it was like almost floating on the sky and like it varied, space, and then it came into this, and then it became what it is. What was the kind of thought process there of like how you wanted that to look in the end?
I got art directed to where it is now,
Oh.
but back then it was they wanted kind of a select screen, and so I was coming up with all these different ideas, stealing Keith's art, of course.
Oh,
but just
respectful.
putting it in, for ideas only and stuff. And
Yeah.
I just got whittled down to this really boring selection screen now. So no, I'm just joking. It's good.
Rude. And then obviously, the New War, there was a little bit of what we call man in the wall. Little teases here and there. I won't spoil too much, I guess. maybe not. But anybody want to say anything about trying to incorporate Man in the Wall into the new war?
We knew where we were going,
Yeah.
so we just wanted to plant seeds, like little foreshadows of what we're going to be revealed. And I'm trying to remember, like, are we getting to the Man in the Wall concept? Is that I totally looked at the flow before we
No.
came here, but because it like Keith
Keith did a crazy one, yeah.
Keith of course designed
Yes.
Wally, and I'm trying to think what year was that though? Like
That was ages ago. That might have been 4 years ago,
yeah, it was
5 years
about
ago.
4 years ago. So we knew we were getting there like for about that long ago, and we just wanted to start planting the seeds and.
The key thing about the Man on the Wall, I find, is that he's still a mystery. Don't worry. It's not a reveal.
Yeah.
We're not seeing an answer to him.
Right.
There's a layering that's underway with him. So
Trying to be sneaky about it, you know?
Yeah.
We try. And then we went Angels of the Zeramin and went real crazy. Finally got to go to the Zeramin, which I think was huge. Like, the Zeramin has been a concept throughout Warframe for a very long time.
2004.
2004, literally, thank you. So to finally be able to go there was obviously, I think, huge for the team. And Carrie, do you remember kind of what vibes you were trying to go for when making the interiors of the ship?
Well, abandoned, overgrown, and the presence of the void, and that gets it into one spot, and it also kind of shows the Orkin kind of as that dominant caste above perhaps the people who would have been the mere generation ship colonists.
And then, of course, the angels. And I know, based off conversations with you, there's many iterations of what these angels were going to look like. What
This
kind of
would
was
be another unclench.
Another unclench, yeah.
This one right here. So yeah.
Do you remember kind of like how many iterations and like why did we whittle down to this one?
Our concept art lead often has like a number at the end of his concepts. I dare not say. Like
Yeah.
it would be high in the double digits for us to have got to where we were going with that one.
Yeah. There was a lot, but landed on something very beautiful, very haunting, sound-wise as well, incredible. And then we have some characters that we introduced into the Zeramin.
I wasn't really expecting us to be able to actually put like the little black glasses on that when we were first doing it, but that worked out really well.
You're like, I like that touch. I like it. We have our crew, our lovely crew, and the early concepts of what they look like from the Kamiki brothers. It was really cool to see, and again, almost one-to-one with how they came out in the game, which was interesting. And then we went into Incarnans, right, Kaz?
Oh, yes.
Oh, tell me all about it. What do we have here with us today?
Interesting of you to ask me about this.
Oh, we got to be
There we
careful.
go. There we go.
Put the safety on.
Yeah, this is my favorite gun. Sure.
Ah, there you go.
She does not want you to hold the prop there.
Yeah,
No.
don't touch my gun. Yeah. So this was a team effort. We had with it 5 total Incarnans that we came up with, and of course they've got the void form. So that's technically it's 10. So you know, I designed 3 of them, and Nikita designed and created the other 2. He did the dagger and the pistol, and I designed the others. And I'm so proud of my team for pulling off such amazing weapons with these concepts. But this is the only one that I claimed this one for myself. I'm like, I'm going to be selfish about one. This guy.
The full arc. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this one's my
It
baby.
is beautiful. And I remember early conversations we were talking about these weapons. They take attributes of the wood from the trees that are in the Zeramin tile set. Do you remember any kind of for direction for that? Was there a different way you wanted to go, or was like, yes, trees, love to incorporate that?
Well, in the beginning, we were thinking, oh, well, what are these weapons going to look like? We don't really have a defined art direction for the weapons on this. Well, maybe they're just security weapons or something. It's a big ship with sci-fi people on it, maybe security stuff. And then Reb came in with an idea that they were ceremonial weapons that they're taking to the new star system, and that they come from specific trees on Earth, and they're like just these beautiful pieces of art, but also weapons. Because why not?
Because why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, a crazy school of weapons that we continue to add to this day even. So your team is incredible. They keep pumping those out, so go art team. And then we got even weirder with the Duviri Paradox this year. Took a real left turn, went went to Eternalism. And a little Dominus. This was, I believe, a concept for like a Dominus arena kind of vibe. But where was your head at when you were thinking of Duviri?
I think originally these were going to be in the gases of Jupiter.
Yeah,
They were,
that's
so
right.
it's very kind of dreamlike, suspended in a. I think the horizon was going to curve vertically, like a crescent moon.
Oh.
So you're really going to feel removed from the outside world and kind of stuck in this massive sea of gas, of this kind of broiling gas. And then he's got his own private, imaginative kingdom that he's building. And he's doing it in this kind of model of a type of Orokin antiquity. So he's got this kind of, this Caesar quality to him. He dreams himself a tyrant.
Yeah.
A child dreaming he's a tyrant.
Don't we all?
Yeah, we all go
We're
through
all
that
tyrants.
stage.
Yeah.
And so he runs. If you end up in his world, then you're just another plaything, except you're real.
Yeah, and very echoes to this day what Duviri Paradox is essentially his play world. So incredible concept. And then obviously thinking of what Duviri was actually going to look like was a huge endeavor, not only visually, but it's just a massive, massive world. Is it our biggest open world?
Not in square footage, I don't think, but
yeah.
hopefully in density of experience.
The experience is big, but I mean, it's our first kind of really exploring floating islands and having that kind of different levels within the environment. And we went real spooky, weird with it when we were thinking about it. I love this one because it reflects that really creepy place that's in Duviri with the waterfall face. Carrie, do you kind of remember going through all these concepts and critiquing and trying to figure out where we wanted to go in terms of when you saw this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like that one there would be something where we were playing with a lot of large chunks of body parts, bluntly, in the landscape for a while, and this was one of the things that kind of came out from it. So, it is an iterative process, so you'll have like somebody rough something in as a sketch and a crazy idea, and then somebody else will refine, and then it'll go in game, and then it'll kind of do a loop as we go. And this would be something where, visually that's gorgeous, and it does exist now, so you can kind of see how it goes.
But I think Duviri is a really good example of showing how concept art starts in one place and evolves into something else. Like the concepts we're seeing now with the ship previously, originally Duviri was intended to be, the Zariman got lost and had Orokin technology where it could terraform itself in an emergency if it needed to. So it kind of, with math, would grow its own world around itself. And that's kind of what we started with, back in, when was that?
Very long. But then the other thing is we wound up shipping the Zariman first.
Yes.
So that kind of like trips up that plan.
Step one, step two,
Yeah.
we made it. And then we, did the Drifter Cave with Old Man Teshin. What we internally call him is Old Man Teshin. And I know this one was really special just because of where our heroes were at within the timeline of Warframe without spoiling anything with Teshin. So it was really, I think, important for the team, the art team, to really nail the vibe of Teshin when we were thinking about putting him in. And then Kaz, I know you designed his lovely staff.
Yeah, made his stuff.
Made his staff. Looks good, matches him, looks great.
It was riding on the heels of all the Zariman stuff, so
Yeah,
really easy to jump into that one.
yeah, different vibe. Of course, we have mocap.
Oh, Elise.
Elise,
Yep.
she is our opera singer. She's an incredible animator on the team. She's actually also Bombastine as well.
That's right.
Yeah, I couldn't get a side by side, but
Yep.
Bombastine as well as her. So some incredible work done there. Jeff, you weren't throwing anyone around at that
I didn't
point.
get to throw Elise around that day.
No. Gentle with Elise. We're gentle. Tim, on the other hand,
Tim's a different story. Yeah.
Tim we toss around. More weapons as well. Liger doing an incredible Daxpo concept.
Liger just always nails it.
Liger always nails it. Liger is Liger, and incredible. And then Carrie, we have a little video here of a prototype.
A very, very early version of Duviri, and it's kind of like probably one of our biggest success stories because we wound up stopping trying to make it at that point, and we went into the new war instead. So quite a lot of stuff went into this. Team came together and knocked this out right after Deimos came out. just to kind of see what we were going to do next. And, you know, obviously a lot of rough edges at a time like this, but...
Okay, don't look at the flying. Don't look at it.
Things in gray. You know, I've got some other videos that have flight controls that were so unintuitive that I managed to mainly bash into things even though it was mainly flat. So, but
Yeah.
you can see a lot of the fractally stuff. We were considering busting apart buildings, and then several people talked me down off of the ledge on that one. But yeah, there's some very, very cool moments that the early stuff through to the final would come through, and this would be a very, very long time before that. Don't mind the sheep.
Don't look, don't look.
But yeah, this is like a really successful early step for us, to be honest with you. Like, you can get a feel for the place. You're walking around. You can understand how things might wind up scaling.
There was like the team could kind of buy into it at this point.
Yeah,
when you saw it.
and we would also know how hard it would probably be to do the way that we would like to do it. You can't do this and the new war at the same time, basically.
A little difficult, yeah. And so the video we're seeing here, is this kind of how we would approach other open worlds as well? Like kind of making this giant playground proc to make and walking around it and seeing what works, what doesn't work? Is that kind of a normal process for our open worlds?
It's a relatively small chunk, but yeah, you do it and you try to get it to be the real experience as quickly as we can, and then that's how you can know whether or not it feels like it's worth doing. Because, I mean, they're a huge endeavor. We have a lot of really cool ones already, so it better be worth doing.
Yeah, no, this is really cool. I always love seeing work. I mean, I love seeing work in progress stuff, but all this behind the scenes is really cool to see, you know, what worked, what didn't work, and how we made it in the end. So it was very cool. Okay. Yes. All right. When we last left our heroes, I don't know where I was going with that. Future of Warframe. We're here. Deviri Paradox is live, obviously. What's next for Warframe? The things we're going to show you in this section, some of it you may recognize, a lot of it you will not, and we're going to be very vague about it, because you'll learn very soon what it is. And the first thing I did want to talk about, which you will recognize because they will be going live today, are our Heirloom collections. Yes. And these are very special to the team because, for many reasons, one of them being is that Minky came back and he concepted these designs for us. So we have some really cool early whips of Minky for the Frost Heirloom and kind of the direction that he was trying to go with that. So cool. Different versions. And then we have the Meg Heirloom concept as well, trying to figure out what she was going to end up. A couple different shapes going on. Ultimately, we ended with this. And it really, what these skins emphasize for us is a legacy of 10 years of Warframe. And again, really special that Minky came back and concepted these for us. And one of the things that I want to note here involving in this collection is a brand new attachment. So if you'll notice on the top of their heads, you know, Frost has his little spikies, Meg has her little squiggles. Sorry, Minky, that was a terrible description of your art. But for a very, very long time, the community has wanted halos. So we have made what we're calling Signas, and they're a brand new cosmetic attachment in a style of a halo. So they're going to be coming with the heirlooms. They'll have their respective ones. You know, fashion frame as you will. We love halos. And these are going live today at 2 p.m. Yes, I know they did leak, but they are going to be live at 2 p.m. and you can check out everything the pack contains and all of that and really celebrate 10 years of Warframe. They are going to be, you know what? I'm going to save that for Tenno Live. Anyways, moving on. Another new thing coming, not coming today at 2 p.m. We're doing another Warframe. Sorry. We're doing another Warframe, of course. We're all about numbers, 10 years of Warframe, 30 years of DE. 54th Warframe. This is DeGoth. And this, of course, is Keith Thompson art.
You got that motif of the headless coming back again.
Yes.
Ever since I was little, you got to play being the headless horseman and things like that. So we've got, Dagoth here, who also has a distinctive executioner's sort of bearded axe, which possibly is connected with why he looks that way. I guess we'll find out.
Well, actually, someone in a different
We
game
changed the
stole
weapon.
that axe. I'm looking at Soulframe. They stole the axe from
That's
us.
not true. I said if you're not going to use this axe.
Oh, okay. She is going to have a different weapon. First, a beautiful in-game look at what she's looking like right now as we continue developing her. Shout out to, obviously, Keith for the concept, model, Mike, beautiful job. And yeah, she's giving very Headless Horseman vibes. I don't know if you can see the horse, maybe attachments, inspiration on her. We'll talk about her more later on. But like I said, she will be coming with a Blade and Whip concept. It's been a while since we've done a nasty Blade and Whip. So Nikita, a fantastic job of matching it to her spooky style. And this is just a little in-game render of what that will look like. Love, love, love. And as per usual on these art panels, we usually reveal our next Prime Warframe. Any guesses? I heard Grendel. So Grendel Prime will be our next shiny boy in the family of primes. And he's big, he's thick, THICC. Carrie, I know in terms of art direction, you can kind of see a little bit of boar in his helmet. Can you tell me about kind of that choice to go a little animalistic and maybe some other options we had, or just love it?
Well, I mean, when you've got a giant stomach that winds up essentially eating everything, you know, it's kind of a natural thing to play off of, and Marco ran with things and did
Yeah.
amazing with that.
Yeah, incredible. Love the boar look. But of course, with every prime is an accessory. And if we know Grendel's got the Sumba primes, so he's going to be, or sorry, he's got the Sumba, now he's going to have the Sumba prime sign Dana, so we'll be able to fashion frame, of course. And then,
And this is going to have like little floating feathers that fall out of it too, that are kind of ephemeral little glowing things that come out.
like he's eating a chicken or something. And it's just the feathers are just flying behind him. And as well, his prime...
Beautiful boy.
Beautiful. His prime weapon will be the Xylock Prime, if you are a Xylock enjoyer. And as well, wouldn't be without a melee. And actually, Keith, I think you concepted this melee. It is the Masseter.
yes.
Yeah. I remember looking at that concept and being in love with it because, and I mean this with love, it reminds me of like those potatoes on a stick that you get at the
yes.
fair. And I was like, that looks incredible.
I think I might have cribbed it. It's a part of an engine. It's So I'm not sure at what scale. I might have taken it from a ship engine. But again, they've got the wonderful animation.
Yes.
You know, that where they all. I
Yeah.
love that ambient
It
spin.
is a very satisfying weapon to hit someone with, with all the spinning blades. And I do want to correct my typo. Andrew, I'm sorry, your last name is YU, not WU. I'm very sorry about that. You can talk to me later, I'm sorry. Also, what we reveal in these art panels, deluxe skins. Who here wants a SEVAGOTH deluxe skin? I do. Yes. It's giving fish. It's giving aquatic. It's very spooky. Liger, again, kicking it out of the park.
Liger, man.
Liger.
Amazing.
Built different.
Yeah, the amount of thought that goes in is just awesome to watch. The whole process is
Yeah.
fantastic.
They're always ready to, take feedback and make it perfect, and they are a perfectionist in their own way. And of course, SEVAGOTH Shadow will have its own little deluxe form, as you saw, so it's just a little zoom in on that, if you will. But what's one deluxe skin when you can have two? Your Rally deluxe skin will be coming as well. a little more. Again, we have an aquatic theme happening, although she is a little water girl herself. So a very, I think it's a jellyfish inspired.
Jellyfish vibe, and
Yeah.
trying to project that as a goth, as
Yeah.
opposed to,
Love that for her. Marilena, of course, will be deluxe alongside that. Can't do that without.
I love this.
Yeah, it is gross but cute. Love it. All right, it's time for the part of the panel where we give you things with no context. Ready? Ready to be vague? You guys are nervous, aren't you?
I don't even know what's coming.
It's okay. There's a new cat, a new cavat, perhaps. I don't know. Just a new cat.
We talked about a certain aesthetic earlier in the
Yeah.
panel.
there's some gold coins.
Is it your cat? Is it someone else's cat? Time will tell. Also, a new necromech may be coming. I smell a theme. There's a
Getting
theme
dangerous
with
here.
these. Yes, a theme with these.
Spoilers.
And another thing I'm very excited to show is a new weapon and a new grip type altogether.
The art book.
We ran out of guns to make, so we decided to make books.
A grimoire will be coming to Warframe at some point. Again, the vibes, they're similar. They are very similar. This is the in-game model of it. I don't
Gave me an
know.
excuse to make a skull on a book, so I took it.
Yep, there you go. We love a little hand. And that's it. That is the Art of Warframe panel. We're not even going to look at that slide. Don't even look at it. Don't look at it. Thank you, everyone here, for watching. I hope you enjoyed going through my 112 slide archive of Warframe. Eric, thanks for being here. Kaz, thanks for being here. Jeff, thanks for being here. Carrie, thanks for being here. Keith, thank you for being here. Any parting words? Any words of wisdom?
Thank you all.
Yeah, no
10
wisdom,
more
but-
years.
10 more years. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thanks, you guys.
Next up is the Sounds of the System panel. So if you want to have your ears tickled, just hang tight, because they're coming. Thank you.